Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I always like to introduce my team, or God's team, that God has provided me. Starting off with my faithful assistant, Faith, who's basically been my assistant since the day she was born. She used to work the sound board with her dad when she was first born, and then as soon as she was able to sit up, we'd put her on the podium and she'd help me do announcements. And she grew up like 6 blocks from my house and spent a lot of time at my house, so she knows me probably better than I know myself. And about 5 years ago, she became my official assistant, both in my other business and the one here. So she's the woman behind the scenes that knows it all. She does it all. All I do is speak. And so if you say hi, hello, good morning, as we ask to let us know that you're here, she's the one that answers you. I always go back later and just check to make sure if there was a question or something that she answered it. And she's also our soloist. And today we're doing, I've already forgotten. What are we doing?
Thoughts Become Things by Elaine Silver.
Thoughts Become Things, yes. And I actually heard from her, and I want to say this before I forget. She live streams her music, so you can. What did she say to me? I'll look it up real quick here.
She said,
"Oh, did you get it? Yeah,
I have it on here.
Hey Alexa, play Elaine Silver." Yeah. Anyway, so before I forget, I thought I'd get that out there. I forget you get my messages when you're on the Facebook.
Yeah, when I'm logged
in. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're singing Thoughts Become Things by Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. So anyway, thank you for being here, sweetheart.
Thank you.
I love you. And then there's my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who was my first baby practitioner, meaning he took all of his training with me, except for one class I think he took at Mile High. And then he was my board president for many years, and then moved away to Florida, so we lost him, sort of. And now that we have this software, we have him back. So I'm so glad to have him as our practitioner of the day today. He'll be praying us in, praying us out, and at the end, he'll be available for our 1-minute miracle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So thank you for being here. We love you. And thanks to all of you for being here, because I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we're blessed to have you with us. Also, I'd like to introduce our adjunct music team. Of course, there's Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver, Karen Drucker, who's been the music director of 3 of our churches, and Albertina Giuffre. We refer to her as Tina, who was our singer from like 2000 until just a couple of years ago when she needed a break. So Faith is now our soloist, but, Tina is still part of our team. So, and the topic today is back to basics. This may or may not be the last week. I haven't decided yet. Today we're doing how to use it, and that's a big topic. So it may spill over into next week so that I don't go over time, because I am really guilty of that a lot of times. So we're doing the first 4 chapters of the textbook, the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and today, how to use it. So that's what we're doing. And there's a watch party button. If you click on that, you can invite all of your friends. It's a great way for them to know what kind of services we provide on Sunday. And also, it's a great way for them to ask questions, and you can answer them without disturbing anybody. So hit that watch party button and invite all your friends so they get aware of us. Right now, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God. For God, as we understand it, is in all things, as all things, encompasses all being and all potential. It is a process that animates life and the mechanism that creates new. It is all one in this greater being that we consider God. I know that God's presence is right here with me right now and with you. For if God is everywhere and for all time, it must be here and now, wherever and whenever we are. So knowing that this is so, I allow this ideation to permeate our service, and hopefully no more calls across the room. And I know that God is good and very good, and I let it be so with great thanks. And so it is.
So it is. Thanks, Oz. It's always interesting when you get calls during the service. That's why I always mute my phone.
Yeah. Got to do it on the other side of the room.
Oh, okay. Thank you. This next song is a Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver song that she wrote while she was in practitioner training with us, and not with our church, but with our organization. And it reminds us of how connected we are. So I love doing this song. So if you know it, the words, sing it loud and sing it proud. And if you don't, get the words under your belt, because it's a great way to remember how connected we are.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know with my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
We are all one in it. I love that. All right. So if you're here, please say hello, good morning, hi, however you want to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see who's here. But with this software, I get a number of people who are here. So I'd appreciate it if you just say hi, good morning, or hello. And if you're just coming by later and stopping by to listen to the service or watch it, just say hi. Just drop me a line. Let me know you were here. And if you like something that I say or that Oz prays or that Faith sings, use that thumbs up button to let us know you like it. And if you love it, of course, send us hearts. We love to get love. And if something is really powerful and hits you very strongly, please use the wow button. Let me know that I'm on track with my message, with God's message, I should say. All right, without further ado, here is Faith singing Thoughts Are Things by Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver.
Summer into fall and winter into spring. Listen to the words as thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. I let my wishes spring. I'm awakening, the pendulum swings, and thoughts become things. The lessons they can bring. I'm aware that I'm aware. My thinking is a prayer. My thinking is a prayer. My thinking is a prayer. Thoughts become things. My heart wishes sing. I'm affirming now and I'm declaring now. Each and every hour I tap into the power of universal law. It brings a state of awe. The magic of the mind is out of space and time. It's out of space and time. Out of space and time. I'm opening. I'm awakening. Thoughts become things, the pleasures they can bring. The treasure of a king. I am one with everything. 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 Summer into fall and winter into spring. Listen to the call, the thoughts become things. 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 Your thoughts become things. Choose good ones.
Thank you. That song is so appropriate for today's topic, so that's perfect. Thank you very much. All right. As I said, we're doing the Back to Basics series, the first 4 chapters of the textbook. It's a great way to introduce newcomers to what it is what our philosophy teaches. But it's also really good for those who've been around for a while to reconnect with and deepen into the principles. Tai Chi masters use the same 7 moves their entire lives, and they just deepen into those moves. And I kind of think the Back to Basics series does that for us too. Excuse me. So the first week we did the thing itself, which is God, universal spirit, intelligence, Allah, whatever word is comfortable for you. God is my word. And we said that the way it works is that God is both love and law. Impersonal love, meaning because we think of God as a divine intelligence, not a personality. We have not made God in the image and likeness of ourselves. Instead, we know that we are in the image and likeness of God. And because of that, we don't believe in a person God. So because we don't believe in a person God, there's no preferences, right? We are free to make mistakes because we have free will. And so there is nothing there to stop us from doing what it is that we do. No one to rescue us, but it's impersonal, and it's the same for everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are, what race, what creed, what orientation, what gender, none of it. All right. And the law, the spiritual laws of the universe work the same way as physical laws, meaning no matter who uses it, it's going to work the same. If I go over and flip on a light switch or tell Google to turn it on, or Oz says, Alexis, turn it on, it's the same, and it doesn't matter who uses it. Gravity, another one, another physical law, is that, everybody is bound by gravity here on the earth. Of course, up in space, we're not, but there's other laws that apply up there. Well, there are spiritual laws that are the same as the physical laws, basically. They are impartial. They work for everyone equally. And so when we talk about the law of cause and effect, we talk about the law of circulation, we talk about the law of attraction, we talk about the law of assumption. When we talk about these laws, those are the names that we've assigned to the spiritual law. When we talk about these laws, that's what we're saying. So the love is impersonal and the law is impartial. And so what it does is it brings us peace. It brings us integrity within ourselves. We aren't disconnected from ourselves. It brings us you feel like you're living the right way, not because you're going to go to heaven or hell, but because it just feels good. It feels right. There's something inside you that resonates with it. And so I think that's what it does. It gives us that ability to walk in the world as agents of God's love, to walk in the world as human doings having a spiritual experience, or spiritual beings having a human experience, however you want to look at it. But that's what it does. So today I want to talk about how to use it. Now, Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder, really all he ever talked about was spiritual mind treatment. And spiritual mind treatment is really what we're doing is we're treating our mind. It's our form of prayer, but we're treating our mind to be in sync with the vibration of God. Okay. And so today I'm going to go over that, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about the pieces that comprise spiritual mind treatment. And maybe we might go over a little bit, so it may spill over into next week when I will talk about visioning and visualization. But I want to get really deep into, first of all, spiritual mind treatment and then the compartments of it. So I like to use the "Are you ready to receive?" To remember all the steps, right? So I teach it that way in Foundations. It's RURTR. Are you ready to receive? That's recognition. And we're recognizing that God is simply all there is. And when I teach my students, I teach them to spend as much time in that stage as possible. So when they turn in their treatments to me to look at, I expect to see at least a quarter of a page on just that step alone. And because the more we can cultivate that relationship, that feeling of connectedness, that contact with God, the better our treatments are going to work. Because when we're infused with that feeling of God, with that feeling of the universal presence surrounding and enfolding us, then it makes the rest of it just go right along. If we don't spend enough time in there, then a lot of times our prayers are not as effective because we haven't connected to that. And by connected to that, I mean, we are human doings having this spiritual experience, and God lives within us. And so when I connect to that spirit within me, that's where the power is, right? And so we're spending time cultivating that relationship in the recognition stage. The next stage is unification, and that one is about unifying ourselves in that. So I am in and through and as it. That's who and what I am, right? And again, I say, spend another quarter page in that stage, because once we recognize that we are absolutely connected to it, by it, through it, as it, then it makes the rest of that just simple. It's just boom, 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 and it's done, right? But we unify ourselves to remind ourselves that we are one in that power, in that presence, in that love, in that life. The next step is realization. And realization is stating it in the here and now that it is already true. And that's a little bit about like an affirmation. And I'm going to kind of go through that a little bit today, but I just want to get through these steps first, and then we'll take it one at a time there. So that's realization. In other words, I now have $10,000 a month income coming in or more. Or I am now in the perfect relationship where I feel loved, valued, and honored. Or my body is now conforming to that blueprint of DNA that is God. And so health is what I'm expressing now. Those are ideas of how you can use that realization step. And that's only one statement. You notice I don't give like a lot. It's not like, it's like a quarter page for the recognition, a quarter page for unification, and then just 1 or 2 lines for the realization step. And then we have the Thanksgiving step. And Thanksgiving to me, I don't know. I don't connect up with that word. I connect up better with gratitude, but it's a T, so we're living with it. But it's where we feel that sense of gratitude. It's not like I'm thanking you, God. That's where we fall into like a little bit of a trap. Sometimes we want to say, thank you, God. Well, thank you means you're celebrating something that's outside of yourself and not necessarily inside of yourself. And so I like gratitude better. And I always say things like, my heart now fills with gratitude to know that this is so. We don't pick it up. We don't pick the issue back up again. We don't say, oh, thank you for that $10,000 a month or more. We don't say, thank you for this healthy body that I am now experiencing. We don't say, thank you for this perfect relationship. We don't say that. We say, my heart fills with gratitude to know this is done now. And that's it. One statement. And then the last part of it is release. And that's probably the most important one of all, because one of my mentor ministers, Dr. Fred Vogt, used to say, you wouldn't go into the garden and plant a seed and water it and fertilize it and all that, and then go every 5 minutes and dig it up just to see if it's growing. And we wouldn't look at our watch every 5 minutes to say, oh, this prayer hasn't worked. It's not working. I don't understand, because we release it. We know it's done. And we release it with the trust and confidence of knowing that it is done. Okay, so those are the steps. Are you ready to receive? And so let me talk a little bit about the first couple of steps. Like I said, you are cultivating that relationship with that God within you. And in that first step, and it's a little like meditation, because when we meditate, that's really what we're doing. We're cultivating a relationship with that inner presence. And so we take that, the reason we spend so much time in it is because it is like a meditation. It's like we need to contact that source of life within us and get really connected with it so that we feel that connection, not just know the connection. I mean, there are some people that, I'm a feeler, so I get feelings. And Oz is definitely on the more intellectual side, but he gets it too. I don't know if he actually has a feeling experience as much as he knows it. But what's important is that you are aware, whatever the feeling, whatever the experience is, you are aware of that absolute power of God in and through and around everything. And so it's a lot like meditation. Now, meditation, some people, when they first come to our philosophy and they first take classes with me, they'll say things like, oh, meditation is such a big deal. I don't have time to sit in a chair, do the mudras, make sure I'm sitting up straight, do the poses. That's not what I consider meditation. I've done all that. I've practiced all that. And to me, nothing is more powerful than just sitting and turning my attention to the awareness of God, right? It doesn't matter how you're sitting, how you're, Ram Dass talks about his experience in the temple where he realized that he was very good at meditation, but wondered if he could be as good at meditation if he was on the streets of New York City, because he said in a temple, it's very easy to be in that presence, to be just, really into the meditation. So to prove it's to himself, he went to New York City and he sat on a street corner and he was able to meditate right there with all the blaring noises and the honking horns and the hordes of people running back and forth and the yelling and the laughing and the partying and all of that. He was able to sit in meditation. And for me, that's the experience that I teach my students. Like, meditation does not have to be that crazy, right? I teach very simple meditations at first. My favorite one that I like to teach brand new people is to sit on the floor cross-legged with a candle in front of you and it's lit. And you stare at that candle for like a minute. This is from yoga, a class in yoga that I took that they taught this. And you stare at this flame for a full minute and not blinking if you can avoid it. And then you take the heels of your hands and you put it over your eyelids, not putting any pressure really on your eyes, but just, allowing yourself to feel a little bit of pressure. And what begins to happen is you see that flame right here, but it's dancing around and you want to try and hold it steady. And you do that for as long as you can possibly do it. Now, I suggest to people that they start out with a minute. If they can go longer, great. But usually our minds start to wander and there the flame goes poof. And it's all about the control of the mind, right? So you want to be able to completely focus on that flame for as long as possible. So I teach them at first to do a minute, then I teach them to increase that and increase that and increase that. The other thing that I have people practice is getting in line at the grocery store and meditating while they're in the line at the grocery store. I don't suggest doing it while you're driving, but in the grocery store, you have that kind of same experience. Once you're a little more adept at it, you have that same kind of experience that Ram Dass had on the New York City street, because there's a lot of distractions and a lot of interruptions. And if you can focus your attention on something during that, then you have mastered meditation, right? So I teach my students all of that. And usually meditation, a lot of times, is about focusing on a statement, either from the Bible or something out of Dr. Ernest Holmes' textbook, or something that can serve as inspiration. And so the beginning of treatment is very much the same as that, as the meditation. And so we want to spend as much time in that as we possibly can. Now, I meditate and pray, I should say, a good hour and a half every day. What is my spiritual practice? I get in a hot bath with bubbles, or I sit out on my front porch. In the summertime, I can sit out on my front porch, but in the wintertime, it's a nice hot bath with bubbles. I light candles, I turn off the lights, and all I do is focus on God until I reach a point where I feel ready to do prayer. And when I feel ready to do prayer, it just zips right along, and I can say, it's done, release it, and I know it's not, I know it's done. Not everybody wants to do a spiritual practice that long, and that's fine. I figure if you can work up to 20 minutes a day, everybody has 20 minutes a day they can devote to this. Trust me, we're doing our hair and doing our makeup, and it's taking a lot longer than that 20 minutes. So, and the men, they're shaving, they're doing all these other things, so they have 20 minutes as well. I know Oz likes to get up, 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, I don't know where he is, and do his meditation during that time. Whatever works for you. But it is important to do the meditation. And like I said, that's what you're doing in that first step of treatment. So the unification step is also that. It's also a meditation on how we are connected, right? Not only are we connected to God, but we are connected to each other because God flows through us. There isn't a God inside me only. There's no God out, up in the heavens somewhere. God flows through us. And that's what we're connected, how we're connected. We're connected by it, through it, as it. When I was studying the Red Path with the Native American Holy Man, we talked about, it's about brethren. That's their word, is the brethren. And we are all related. We're related to animals, we're related to trees, we're related to on and on and on and on. And it's basically the same philosophy. It's basically that idea that there is no place where one begins and the other leaves off. That it just is a connection that is felt and seen and heard and known to everything, to all of life. Okay, so that unification stage, again, is a meditation, but it's a meditation about our connectedness and how we feel connected or are aware of that connection to all of life. All right. Now, getting into the realization step. My husband really doesn't like it that I refer to our brains when we were first born as billiard balls. But that's sort of like what it is. We have a very smooth surface. And I'll tell you how I came to this so you get an understanding of why I think that way. 20 years ago, about, I think, 2000, yeah. My brother, my oldest brother, had a massive stroke. And it started in his left brain and it crossed over midbrain and went into his right brain. And he wasn't getting any better. So we called a friend of ours who was one of a handful of speech pathologists who had her training. And she used to be called to consult all over the world. She's since passed on, but Dr. Margaret Stannard was her name. And she had originally gone to medical school and was going to become a doctor. And one class shy of her degree, she decided she didn't want to be a doctor. So she went into speech pathology and she got her master's degree and her PhD in that. And so because of her training, she was an amazing person when it came to, they would, like I said, call her from all over the world to come and consult on brain issues and teaching people how to speak again. So we were really blessed to have her as a friend. Lynn had worked with her at the rehab center for spinal injuries before I even knew him. And then she was a teacher in our school of ministry. So she was pretty amazing. That's how I got to know her. Turned out we had this friend in common and it was great. We built this wonderful friendship with her. So when my brother wasn't getting any better, I called her and I said, I don't understand why he's not getting any better. And she said, oh, let me come and take a look. And she went over the MRIs and what she discovered was that, like I said, it started in his left brain, took out his whole left brain, went over midbrain and into his right brain. And so she agreed to work with us. But in the midst of explaining all of this and the MRIs and everything, she said, you know, it's about neural pathways. We can teach his right brain to take over where the left brain did for the communication skills, because he was not able to communicate at all. All he did was blah, 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 blah. And she said, the neural pathways, you can dig a groove deep enough by repetition to allow the neural pathways to develop on the right brain so he can actually speak again. And all these thoughts started going through my head about affirmations, like, oh, that's how affirmations work. And she said, yeah. She said, basically, when we're born, we have this smooth brain. And through repetition, as we learn things, there are deep grooves that develop in the brain. And that's how we know how to do things. And I was like, oh my God, that's how, so it just clicked, immediately clicked. And so when I talk about affirmations, what I'm saying to everyone, and visualization too, is that we're building those deep grooves in the brain where it is, our synapses fire much more quicker and we have more ready access to that information. And it becomes automatic, like when you're driving a car, right? When you first start driving a car, you have to think about where you put your feet, where you put your eyes, where you put your hands, turn this wheel, step on the gas, step on the brake. You have to think about all these things. And after repetition, when the deep grooves have developed in your brain for the neural pathways for that, then all of a sudden you don't have to think about that stuff anymore. Now you can think about what's going on out in the road. Who's coming at me? Where am I going? That kind of thing. So affirmations work the same way, and so do visualizations. So when we're doing 100 affirmations, what we're doing is we're trying to create those deep grooves in the brain to accept that reality, right? The brain doesn't know the difference between fic or faction. All you have to do is go to a movie that's sad and experience what it's like to cry at the movie. You know that it's just a movie, right? You know it's not real, and yet your brain interprets that as sadness and you start to cry, right? And so we know that the brain works that way. So by doing affirmations and by doing visualizations, what we have done is we have fooled the brain, so to speak, into saying this is reality. Okay. The caveat here is, and you've heard me talk about this before, is that when we do affirmations, we, in our subjective mind that works like a computer, that stores a computer hard drive, that stores all of the experiences and all the reactions we've had to those experiences. When we're doing affirmations, there's usually material in the subjective mind that jumps up and says, I don't think so. And I think that is why when people teach the law of attraction, like on TikTok, and like pretty much everybody teaches the law of attraction these days, but they don't get that part of it. Back in the early 80s, I ran into this teacher named Sandra Ray, who did these books, and she taught affirmations, but her way of teaching affirmations was very different. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Is that you write the affirmation out in first person, third person, like I did this, she did this, and then what happens is you write on the right side of it everything that comes up around that. So if you get like, I now have an income of $10,000 a month or more, and on the right side it's like, there's no way you can make that amount of money, then you change your affirmation to be willing to open to the 10,000. You see what I'm saying? Like, you work with that subjective material. So in all of my career, that's how I've taught it. That we, not necessarily that you write it that way and that you do the column, but that we're aware of what comes up when we do our affirmations, what objections appear in the subjective mind to counteract those affirmations, so that we can adjust the affirmation to include whatever comes up. So one of the things that comes up a lot of times is you don't deserve, right? So the next affirmation I tell everybody to do is I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. I deserve blah, 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 right? Or you can talk yourself, through it. Like, I'm made of God. God doesn't make junk. Because I'm made of God, then that means that I do deserve that, because, we wouldn't tell God that it doesn't deserve anything. You know what I mean? Like, so I teach affirmations that same way because of that. But I say do 100 affirmations a day. And so typically, like I like to use the mala beads necklace for that. You move one bead as you say each affirmation. However you want to do it. Back in the old days, I used to have playing cards that I would, there's 52 cards in the deck, right? So I would go through the deck twice. There's all kinds of tricks that we can use to make sure we get our 100 affirmations in. But the reason we're doing 100 is because we are trying to create those deep grooves so that the brain automatically receives that as truth and reality and fact, right? Visualization is the same way. I mean, people have been doing visualization for years, for decades. Athletes, successful athletes have done it. Successful business people have done it. And I'm not suggesting that the realization stage is visualization. I'm just saying it works the same way. And when you are visualizing it, you are tricking your brain to believe that this is the new reality and that this is fact, and that you will experience that reality because the brain now accepts it as truth. Okay. So that's the realization stage, is much like an affirmation, just one quick line. And then the gratitude I've already talked about. Gratitude is not just a statement. It is something that we need to practice as a spiritual practice. Okay. I talk about gratitude a lot. I say, get up in the morning and say, I'm grateful for this day. One of the songs that we like to sing, is that a Karen Drucker song? Grateful for this day, Spirit, grateful for this day. Faith. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a Karen Drucker song. I suggest singing that first thing in the morning. One of my mentors, Reverend Dr. Marjorie Staum, when I roomed with her in Puerto Vallarta, she was so cute. She would throw her legs over the side of the bed and say, "Praise God, this is the day that God has made," you know. And I'm over there, "Hola, Marjorie," you know, because I wasn't quite ready for the day. But she practiced that. When she did her Science of Mind 2 classes, she used to hand out these little affirmation cards that said, "Look for the good and praise it." And you would put those up on your mirror and everywhere around your house so that you would remember to look for the good and praise it. And that's all about a practice of gratitude. I also suggest taking gratitude breaks during the day. You know, get up from your desk and just walk around and go, "I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that," or just feel grateful. You know, just allow yourself to just feel those feelings of gratitude. And then last thing at night, do a gratitude journal. You know, write down everything that you're grateful for, maybe 10 things every night right before you go to sleep. You're entering that REM state with that feeling of gratitude. And that is going to be very powerful for not only your dreams, but for the next day, for the creation of your reality. Because you know, when we're dreaming, we're creating the next day, we're creating the new reality. That's the time and the space where our left brain is really out of the way and the creative mind has its way with us. And so if you can enter into your sleep with that feeling of gratitude, you know, that just creates a good day, creates a really good life. Also, you know, writing on checks, thank you. When I teach gratitude, that's what I teach. And, you know, these days, a lot of people don't use checks. Hi, Fred, Kathy, and Marlene. It's 11:11, that magic hour. Dr. Fred used to say, that is the moment where their world, the world of the dead, and the world of the living is connected, and you can communicate. So at 11:11, whenever I notice that it's 11:11, I always say hi to Dr. Fred, Dr. Kathleen, and Dr. Marjorie, and Marlene, because I know they're there. Anyway, that practice of gratitude is going to create the reality that we want. So we want to use that as a spiritual practice. Oh, I know what I was talking about. So when you write out checks, you say thank you. Well, it was so funny because I would do that when I go to the grocery store, and the cashiers would, undoubtedly, the cashiers would look at me and go, "Oh, but thank you." And I'm like, I never said anything, but you know, I'm thanking God within me that I have the money to make that purchase, right? And I don't take time to like explain it to everybody. It was part of my practice. These days, because we do a lot of it online, there's always a memo field and you can always say thank you. You don't have to say thank you, Spirit. You don't have to say thank you, God. You just say thank you. You know what you mean, but it's an act of gratitude. And those acts of gratitude lead to a feeling of gratitude. And that is a spiritual practice. And then I talked a little bit about release already. So basically, spiritual mind treatment, the steps of it are you ready to receive? Recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release. Make sure that you release all of it. You don't keep picking it up every 5 minutes. That doesn't mean that you don't do prayer over and over again. The way I look at it is I release it in that moment. If it comes back up again, if I have any doubt, any worry, anything, I do another treatment. And that will allow me to, again, affirm that it is done. And then I can release it again. And I keep doing that all the time. And so I'm going to leave visualization and visioning for next week. I think I'm going to just push that over into next week because I really want to get into all of that. I want because how it works is through spiritual practice. That's the quick answer to that. How it works is the spiritual practice. And so I want to talk about all the spiritual practices. I like to talk about treatment first because that was what Dr. Ernest Holmes taught. Spiritual mind treatment, treating our minds to receive the good, treating our minds to resonate with the frequency of God in prosperity, in health, in love, whatever. Okay. So this week, do this with me. Start doing affirmations. Look at what the subjective mind comes up with. When it comes up with something, change your affirmation to that until you can feel comfortable with that. You may have, Sandra Ray used to say, you could have, out of doing 100 affirmations, you could have 100 different responses that you have to address. I've never really found that myself. I usually have one or two and they're the same one or two. And so when I go through the affirmation and the subjective mind, stands up and says, howdy, I go, okay. And I change the affirmation and I do it to counteract that material. But do your affirmations, work on your subjective material this week. Sit and meditate. Do the candle exercise. If you've never meditated before, use the candle exercise. It's safe. It's really effective. And try to increase the amount of time that you are doing it. Start out with 1 minute staring at the candle, 1 minute with your hands here. Again, don't apply too much pressure. You don't want to hurt your eyes, but you want to apply enough pressure that you begin to see the flame right here. And you're going to be holding that flame as long as you can. When you stop holding, when the flame disappears, you're done. And then you could do it again the next day. But do it every day. Do some meditation. Do some affirmations. If you feel like you understand spiritual mind treatment, by all means do that. There's a book called This Thing Called You that is really good. This Thing Called Life. Those are both written by Dr. Ernest Holmes, and they are really wonderful for getting you in the mindset of being able to do treatment for yourself. In the meantime, see a practitioner who will know the truth for you until you can see it yourself. All right. Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. Right now, I just move my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. For God is simply all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is right now. Only God. One life, one power, one presence, one being. And so that's where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am, and every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through me, that flows through all of us. For that is God acting in me as me. I recognize it so perfectly now. I know that same truth to be so for every member of the team, for Lynn and for Oz and for Faith and for Tina and for Karen and for Elaine, that we are absolutely connected by it, through it, as it, for that is who and what we are. And that ancient wisdom of the ages flows through each of us so perfectly that it leads us and guides us. For we are all one. I know that same truth for everyone here today, whether you're watching in real time or you're watching later on. For we are connected by it, through it, as it. That connection flows through us perfectly, like watermarks on a page. And there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. There is only the one life, one power, one presence, one good and love. Vitakyu Asen. All my brethren, we are related. We are all one. So I bless this coming week with that awareness, with that truth of life. To know that all experiences lead us deeper into these principles that I have been talking about. All experiences lead us deeper into our connection with that spirit within us, that God life within us. that is present all around us and flows through us. So as we practice our affirmations, our meditation, and our spiritual mind treatment this week, we are blessed with more and deeper experiences of God within us as the truth about us. And our life begins to flow forth from that very awareness into good and very good experiences. I know the same truth to be so for everything that's in the ministry of prayer today. Because I do know that no matter what condition they are experiencing, God is absolutely more powerful than any of it. I pull back the veil and I reveal this truth here and now, and I claim it for them in their name as good and very good. I accept it and receive it for them. For all of this, I give great gratitude. It just flows in me and flows through me, and my cup runneth over. To know that this is so, to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be. And so it is. I just unlooped it. That worked out good. Whew, okay. Right now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express gratitude for that which you have already received in physical reality and that which you have created in the mind of God but may not have experienced in physical form yet. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, we're going to say an offering affirmation together. And then underneath that is a Contribute Now button. And let me talk a little bit about what you're contributing to so that you know that what you're doing with that. We don't have a facility or, there's no related expenses for being in a facility. So really what you are contributing to is our vision and our mission of healing the earth, healing the world. And we're doing that one person at a time by uplifting and inspiring people everywhere. We already have people in Holland, the Netherlands, UK, and Germany who tune in. And we'd like to spread that throughout the world. I'd love to be the vessel through which God's message uplifts and inspires everyone in the world. So that's the vision and the mission that you are contributing to when you hit that Contribute Now button. All right. So please, no matter whether you're here right now in real time or you're watching this later, please go with me now to www.oasiscsl.org and say the offering affirmation with me, about 2/3 down the page. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. Hit that Contribute Now button and help us get out into the world. Yes, marketing does cost money. All right. So we have not heard enough people wanting to take the class, so we're going to cancel the class. If I say that and a bunch of people jump up and say, hey, I wanted to take that, I will go ahead and offer it on Thursday night from 6 to 10 Mountain Time. 6 to 9 Mountain Time. But unless I hear something from more than one person, we're not going to offer the class. And for those of you in Europe, if you've got a couple people, I'm willing to do a morning class here, which would be an evening class there. So I'm willing to do that. I'm not going to ask you to attend one at 6 o'clock at night here, which would be 2 o'clock in the morning your time. No, we're not going to do that to you. Although some of you are already up. I mean, some of you that I talk to, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, but whatever. Raymond, Kamal's not up that much anymore. He used to be. Now he's a businessman, so he can't be up all night. All right. So anyway, that's the announcement for the classes. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast that serve on our ministry of prayer, which we like to call the God Squad. They are the licensed practitioners are the healing arm of our church, and it's very important the work that they do. One of the things they do is they know the spiritual truth for you until you can know it for yourself. So they're available by appointment for a fee for spiritual guidance to help guide you to the spiritual truth. What you do is you reach out to them either by Facebook or on our website and let them know that you would like to have a session, and they'll tell you how to pay for it. It could be Cash App, it could be Venmo, it could be PayPal, it could be Wise. I don't know. I don't get involved in that. They're their separate business. They determine what they're going to use for payment, and then they let you know. And then at your appointed time, they will reach out to you by video chat. And Oz is available at the end of the service here for our 1 minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can let him know whatever situation you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And you reach out to him through video chat. If he doesn't answer right away, it probably means he's on with someone else. But that's what we call our 1 minute miracle. If you would like prayer for something, please put it in the comment section, and Faith will make sure it gets to the God Squad. We have a private facing Facebook group page, where we put all of those requests, and the God Squad picks them up. If you don't want it to be public, you can reach out to Faith, DM her, and let her know, and she will make sure that it gets onto that private facing group page. If you would like to be part of our online community, type more in the comment section, and she will put you onto our list for the public facing group page on Facebook. You get the information before anybody else, and like classes, events, that kind of thing. And you can talk amongst each other. So we built a community for you that way. So just type more in the comment section if that's what you want to do. Let me get up here. First, I want to talk about Brooks and Bailey. That is who I get my mala beads from. They have necklaces and bracelets. The necklaces have 108 beads. The bracelets have 54. And all the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which I think is a very worthy cause. And you can reach them through brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com, or they have a Facebook page, and whenever they are going to have a booth at an event, they share it, and I try to share it on ours. These are the amethyst mala beads, and this was $60. Most of theirs are $30 and up, depending on what kind of gemstone you want in your necklace. Okay, Faith.
Oh. And please check out my metaphysical. Wow. Sorry, my voice is going. Please check out my metaphysical shop. The website no longer works. However, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Mystic Brew 303. Facebook has all of the prices for the intention jars and bath salts, as well as kits to make them yourself. To order, just message us and we can get that figured out from there.
Awesome. I don't know why you're losing your voice, honey. Did you get sick again? You don't know. Okay. You're probably partying too much last night. Just saying. All right. We like to support those who support us. So as always, go to Reverend Fairy Lane Silver's website. She can't change it to tell you how to pay for it. So you go on there, you check out what CDs you would like. Let her know. She's traveling around the country singing all the time, and she has them in her trunk of her car. So she'll tell you how to pay for it, and then she'll send it to you from there. So, and she's real good about that. So also, again, you can live stream her music, say, hey, Alexis, play Elaine Silver, and you can get all the songs that way too, just to listen to. Also, Karen Drucker's website does work. She does have ability for you to pay. You can buy it by the song, by the CD, by the songbook. She has karaoke files. She has some American Sign Language in some of the songs in the songbook. So all of that is available on her website. You can purchase it right then and there. All right. And then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. We are working on it because I know it's kind of out of date. And so we're going to be working on that. Also, our sermons are available by video on YouTube under S. Tucker, and on audio from years prior to the pandemic on SoundCloud under S. Tucker. So check those out, find stuff you like. We always like to have you go through and listen to old sermons. I'm almost I'm like October of 2022 uploading to YouTube. So it's getting there. We're almost there. Anyway. All right. Let's listen to our last song. And again, if you know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud. If you don't know the words, get this one stuck in your head because it's a great meme to live your life by. I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I know that right here, right now, God's presence is here amongst us. And I give thanks for the blessings that God brings forth in the next week for me, for you, and for everyone. I leave us with feelings of good thanks and gratitude. And I know this is good and very good. And I let it be so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you. And we love having your presence with us. Join us next week where I'm going to go over visioning and visualization and probably reiterate some of the same stuff about today just to get clear on the treatment and all of that. 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. Until then, we love you. Stay safe, wear a mask, and come back. Bye. I can't find it. There we go.